Why do I sometimes see poll workers filling in blank ballots at the polling place? That's a great question. And honestly, it's one that I wish more people would ask, because when you see it, it probably looks kind of suspect, right? A few years ago, I created some signs that explain this process just because I suspected that every once in a while a voter might see it, but might be reluctant to ask what's going on. I was hoping that some educational signs might prevent them from then going out in the community and potentially sounding the alarm. You wouldn't believe what I saw when I was voting today. The poll workers, they were filling in extra ballots. Or maybe, you guys, when I went to vote today, I saw poll workers using whiteout on people's ballots, because that's something that you might also witness from time to time. So here's why that process is perfectly legal and absolutely necessary sometimes in order to get somebody's vote to count. Here are the main 3 takeaways that you should get from this information. Number 1, it's only done in very limited circumstances when election workers have tried unsuccessfully to run a ballot through the tabulator, but the tabulator keeps rejecting it. This is a last resort option. Number 2, multiple safeguards ensure that the recreated ballot accurately reflects the voter's intent. Number 3, it only occurs with absentee ballots, and that's because the voter is not present to do it themselves. Occasionally, ballots are rejected by the tabulator, and it's usually because something is interfering with the optical scanning process. It can sometimes happen when the paper itself is somehow compromised, but it's often due to what's known as ambiguous marks. This can be pen marks outside of the ovals, random smudges. We've even seen beverage stains on ballots at times. If it's rejected and the error given on the screen is ambiguous marks, then the poll workers are going to look over the ballot and see if they can figure out where the problem areas are. And that's the situation that might cause us to use whiteout tape on something. I get it, it looks weird, but it's highly supervised. And if a little inconsequential whiteout tape in areas that have nothing to do with your vote are the reason that we can get your original ballot to be counted, then that's what we're going to do. If we can use your original ballot, we want to use your original ballot. If for whatever reason we cannot get your original ballot to run through the tabulator, then we have to recreate it. Again, if you were here in person, you would be given a fresh ballot and you could recreate it yourself. But without you here, it's the only way that we can get your vote to count. This must be done in full view of the public, and that's why people are seeing it at the polling place. The ballot recreation process requires the participation of 3 election inspectors. Inspector number 1 is going to read your ballot and recite out loud each contest and each vote that you have marked on the ballot. And they are going to do this loud enough so that Inspector 2 and Inspector 3 can hear it. At this point, there's no name attached to the ballot. The name is only on the certificate envelope. That is dealt with at the poll book station as we check in the ballots, and then the ballot moves through the rest of the polling place on its own. So reciting the votes on the ballot is not announcing to the world who you voted for if this happens to be your ballot. Inspector number 2 has the new ballot, and they are going to listen to Inspector number 1, and they are going to scribe the votes onto the new ballot. So what does Inspector number 3 do? They supervise the whole thing. So that way everybody knows that the recreated ballot accurately reflects the votes from the original ballot. Also worth noting is that when we have election inspectors that are nominated by political parties, we make sure that one person from each party is participating in this process. After the ballot is recreated, the original ballot is torn partially so that it cannot be used in any way ever again, and it is placed in an envelope. These are then retained with all of the other records related to the election process. Additionally, election inspectors will need to initial both the original and the recreated ballot, and they will need to fill out this little section here and give it a serial number. All of this information is recorded on the incident log that accompanies the inspector's statement for the day. So in the event that anyone would ask to verify that any recreated ballots really were recreated with the intent the voter had with their original ballot, they could tie those 2 ballots together by doing an audit of the election records to make sure that everything is accurate. So there you have it. That's why you will sometimes see election workers marking up ballots on election day. Great question indeed. Got another one? Let us know.